Alright, we're gonna do a test of lakka now, running on a AMD Sempron 2.8 gigahertz and 8 gigs of RAM with a few games. Let's start with something a little bit easy for it to run. Start with Super Mario Bros. 1. As you can see, runs it no sweat, no problems at all. Let's try something a little bit harder. Let's try Doom. Doom from 1993 for DOS. Very innovative for the time, but famously very easy to play nowadays compared to other stuff. That's just baby stuff. Let's try some real harder stuff to play. Sonic the Hedgehog. Oops. Oh no, what have I done? Let's try Sonic the Hedgehog. Famous for its blast processing power and its incredibly high speeds at which the CPU of the Genesis was able to process. Let's see if this old boy can catch up. Oh no, what happened? Oh, I paused it. Sorry about that. Pressed the pause button accidentally. As you can see, no sweat at all. Not even a challenge. Not even breaking a sweat. Now, let's break out the real hard ones to run. Mario Kart's Double Dash for the GameCube. Let's see how this fares against that. Not even a sweat. And this is an actually demanding game this time. Full 3D, 60 FPS. Not even breaking a sweat. Oops. But as you can see, full 60 FPS, not even breaking a sweat at all. Now for the last thing I'll showcase, I'm gonna try and run the hardest thing that it can run. Mario Kart Wii. Actually, for the sake of it, let me start with New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Let me start with this, then I'll show you Mario Bros. Wii. It is a little bit cut off at the edge because I haven't set the aspect ratio for this monitor, as I was using my test bench monitor, but as you can see, it no sweat at all. An AMD Sempron is a terrible CPU by today's standards, but for this, it just blows the Wii out of the water. And the 8 gigabytes of RAM can absolutely tank this. Just missed the top. Now, as promised, that game, really hard to run, but I got it to run 60 FPS. Now let's try for something that's more fast-paced. As you can see, I've already unlocked a few of the cups already because this is my favorite Mario Kart game. Can't just not play it. Oh. Now this is the first title showcase that it actually does have a little. It actually is breaking a bit of a sweat right now. It actually is using up a big chunk of the CPU power. But still, come on, this is still more than playable. 47 FPS, 50 FPS here and there. Like, it's still running very well. Maybe a little choppy here and there, and maybe get 1% lows of 30 FPS every now and again. But then again, that's just a 1% low. But still, this is great. It's running perfectly, or near perfectly. Best I can without breaking the bank. Too much, at least. Now with the audio quality, you may notice that the audio quality for this game specifically has dropped a little bit, and that's because the way Wii games handle frame rate is the audio is tied directly to the frame rate. So whenever the frame rate itself isn't 60 FPS, the audio chips a bunch, which is noticeable, but you gotta make a few sacrifices here or there. But anyway, yeah. Once again, this is running in AMD Sempron with AM3 socket at 2.8 gigahertz with 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM clocked at 1333 megahertz. And yeah, it's running very well. The operating system it's running is called Lakka, which is a RetroArch distro that's meant as a standalone operating system as opposed to the Windows or Linux application. But yeah, and to end it off, I'll play a fan favorite, Mario Kart DS. Of course, the aspect ratio on this is going to mimic that of the Nintendo DS by having it in this setup, but seems to be running okay so far. Of course, I'm going to pick Luigi. It does look a little wonky, and that's because, well, double screen. This one also seems to be taking, for whatever reason, this one is actually taking a little bit of a toll on it, too. Actually, you know what? I think I know what I can do to fix that. Lakka gives you the option to actually over or underclock your CPU to make it run at different speeds. So I want to see if it'll let me underclock or overclock my CPU to hopefully get it to run better. I changed the aspect ratio so that it'll be a little better. And there we go. All I had to do was select the dual core option. There we go. It's running at DS speeds now. Apologies for that little bit of unprofessionalism, I guess you could say. Anyway, that's all for me. And if you have an old computer, if you have an old PC, right, then I highly recommend installing Lakka, the operating system, on it, and it'll just give it a new sense of life. And you can just download the ROMs you want and put it on here. Anyway, that's all for me. Goodbye.